So to start off, there are three types of data to collect. And the first one is registration and attendance data. So that includes total registrations, which is a figure that is represented and is usually the highest one of them all, really, because that's the first step in the webinar funnel. So that's the first, let's say, threshold that that the people within the funnel have to cross, and the total registrations will usually be the biggest metric of them all. Now, they do not mean that people will necessarily attend this particular event. All this signifies is an intent. And you as a marketer would benefit greatly from that intent, because if a person won't necessarily join a webinar, that does not cross them out, or that shouldn't, in theory, cross them out from your mailing list, from your repository of contacts, from your CRM. It's a sign. It's a sign that they are interested, maybe not committed, maybe not let's say, they don't have their mind made up on the fact that they want to sacrifice an hour of the day for whatever you might be selling or promoting or running. But the intent is still there, and you should not give up on them, and instead target them with a marketing with an email marketing campaign, or label them appropriately in your email marketing software. That's still a sign of intent. It's just weaker. Then you've got total attendees, which is a number of people that actually show up, like you did today. And this is a very valuable information for us as well, because after the event, we'll have a look and we'll see, oh, this user showed up, so they must be all about webinars. So that's a business opportunity for us, to maybe better utilize your insights, your input, because we would see you as a hard user, just to reach out to an example that just in front of us today. And then attendance rate, which is a relative measure, which is a percentage of people that showed up. So it's total attendees divided by total registrations. That's the formula for this metric. And again, the higher the attendance rate, the better. Um, if your attendance rate is bad, if it's unsatisfactory, if it does not meet your expectations, there might be a couple of reasons for that. And the first reason, the most obvious one, would be that there's something wrong with your email reminders or your event reminders. And that's something I would take a look at if the attendance rate is not, is just worse than you expected. But obviously, there might be a plethora of different reasons. So, yeah, each case would have to be, let's say, decomposed individually. But just to give a brief idea of what might it be. Moving on forward, another type of metrics is engagement metrics, and that's something that usually happens a step ahead, or a step further down the line. Poll participation rate. So that's something that also comes in handy, and then enables you to qualify your event attendees based on how they engaged throughout the event, how they responded to the questions, were they active or were they just passive listeners. And again, average engagement time, which is a metric that follows in the footsteps of the previous one, and is directly binded to participation and engagement. Those are like the two phrases that are usually used in conjunction with each other. And yeah, average engagement time is just out of the entire event. So let's say our event lasts an hour. Uh, each user has a period of activity, a period of engagement, that they've been a part of the event for. And it's just all added up and then divided by the denominator of the total attendees in the room. And then you're gonna have the average, the mathematical arithmetic average, which is a, a data that can be, a bit misleading if you do not interpret it appropriately. If you do interpret it appropriately, and you understand that there might be some, let's say, fringe cases, then the average will presumably do justice and would be a very fair basis for you to take any conclusions or assumptions based on. Finally, the third one, performance metrics, because at the end of the day, we're all here for profit. And you're doing webinars not because you love presenting, or maybe that's one of the cases as well. But I'm sure you wouldn't mind a couple additional dollars at the in the bottom line at the end of the month. So conversion rate, which please do not be mistaken by sale rate or purchase rate. Conversion is something different. Conversion varies from an event to an event. You might have a different aim in mind when you're setting up a top of the funnel webinar, and you might have a very different aim in mind, a very different goal in mind when you are setting a bottom of the funnel webinar, which with a bit more transactional, let's say, direction. Um, so yeah, conversion rate is a rate of success. Is a direct measure of the attendees pulling the trigger on the action you wanted them to do before setting up the event. Let's say a strategic aim at this point. But it's also important to have total revenue generated in mind, which again circles back to the idea that I introduced just a moment ago, with people running webinars mainly for side hustle or business purposes. So again, that's another type of information that you have to be aware of when running webinars.